I'm sure a lot of you, and even myself included, I've questioned why I chose to go to liberal arts school instead of going to perhaps a trade school or a specific research university where they prepare you with the necessary skills to carry out that exact career and nothing more. And I'm starting to question, or I hear a lot of my peers question, why do I have to take all these Hamlin plan letters? Why do I have to diversify my choice of study? Why do I have to take a history class when I'm a science major? Or why do I have to take a science class when I'm a history major? And questions like this. And these are perfectly reasonable and fair questions, but I'm here to sort of persuade you into thinking that you actually made the correct choice in pursuing a liberal arts degree as opposed to something more specific. So going to high school over in Austria, I had one choice for my high school diploma, and it was the International Baccalaureate. And the interesting thing about the International Baccalaureate is it's specifically designed for United Kingdom applicants, people who want to go to college in the UK. And something kind of off-putting about the International Baccalaureate is, in a way, you decide your career when you're 16 years old. The program relies on you taking a number of higher level classes. I think it's about three of them, could be three or more, and a number of standard level courses. And those higher level courses are actually indicative of what you actually go on to do in the future. So, for example, my buddy Holden took higher level chemistry, higher level physics, higher level math, and one could just ask another peer in high school and say, "Well, what are your HLs?" And people would be like, "Chemistry, math, and physics," and you'd immediately assume that they're gonna do something in chemistry, math, and physics, which is a reasonable thing to assume. The unreasonable part of it is not the assumption that one might make based on what you're studying. I mean, if I'm telling people that I'm taking all these science classes, you could probably assume that I'm going to be doing something in the science. The unreasonable part about this is that the IB makes you decide what higher levels and what standard levels you're going to take when you're 16 years old. And I'm arguing that a 16-year-old doesn't understand themselves well enough to really make an accurate decision. They can estimate something, but they can't necessarily make the decision. And so having the opportunity to be at Hamlin and to take classes from a multitude of different subjects, from a variety of ranging different subjects, from science to English literature to religion to economics, and courses like this, it allows you to be more of a broad learner, but also to be specialized in a way as well. And so I'm talking to a lot of my friends recently who are in college, and they're telling me, "Oh, Thomas, like, this isn't it. Like, I wish that I had chosen something else. I'm very dissatisfied in my judgment when I was a 16-year-old." And I look at them and I go, "You can't blame yourself for that. Like, yes, you made a decision and you have to kind of stick with that because that's the ruthlessness of the world, but you also can't necessarily blame yourself for making that decision too young and being maybe a little bit immature or premature in that decision making process." But a lot of my buddies are now saying I'm very dissatisfied with my decisions, and it's not actually my personal bias speaking in this case. Concrete, which is a college survey platform, just released a statistic actually where they pulled 30,000 United Kingdom undergraduates who are in their third year of study, which is the end of your undergraduate career there. And they released a statistic saying that 52% of them agree that they are dissatisfied, one, dissatisfied with their decision, and two, still have no idea what they're going to do with their choice of study. And that's a very concerning statistic, but also very concerning way to word something that so many people agree with as well. And my point is that going to a liberal arts college when you're 18 years old and you have 4 years to decide, essentially 4 years, you need to give or take like 2-3 years. You probably should have a decent idea of what you're going to specialize in, but you don't need to know exactly what you want to do. And my friend Holden, who was taking those chemistry and physics courses at such a young age, he's kind of an exception because he's happy with doing chemical engineering. But he had to apply specifically for a chemical engineering program when he was 18. He couldn't decide between just doing chemistry and industry or math in industry or physics in industry or anything in between. He chose chemical engineering specifically. And so what I'm trying to say is that taking that history course that you dread so much, or taking that creative writing course that you absolutely cannot stand, or taking that chemistry course that you absolutely hate, is actually good for you, and it helps you navigate your understanding of yourself and your understanding of your interests. And perhaps it is as bad as you think it is. Perhaps it is a course that you will never have to take again, and that's okay. But it does act as something that gives you a lot of perspective on other things. So like perhaps your hatred for that history class, well, after you take that history class, you don't have to take another history class like that. You can take a different history class, you take a different Hamlin plan that has a similar, or a different course that has the same Hamlin plan. And so you actually end up specializing in a major because you choose a major, but you also have the whole broadness and well-roundedness of a student that goes to a liberal arts college, and that's a lot more beneficial than people actually think. So before you complain about, darn, why do we have to take all these different courses, perhaps take a step back and actually realize that we have it pretty good, and this is a great way to really fulfill your interests and to discover yourself through taking different courses. Thank you.